Hi, everyone. Welcome to White Noise Night Coffee Sessions. I am your interviewer today, and I have a very special guest, our feature for the month of March, Leah Valentine, who has come all the way from Dutchess County in Beacon, which is super cool. It's down by where I live, so I love that. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.
I'm loving the space and I'm super happy to be here.
Thanks. So my first question for you is, who is Leah Valentine?
Wow. Okay, great. Okay. Leah Valentine is she's a musician.
Mm-hmm.
She's a singer, she's a poet, she's an artist as a whole, and I think she's me, like kind of like the higher self version of me who is accepting and embodies the fullness of me.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How did Leah Valentine come to be?
Yeah. I've been singing and performing my whole life, and I've been through many eras of what that looked like, and the name came to me in a dream, and I just like woke up and heard it over and over, and it just felt really right. Mm-hmm. And it's developed over time in terms of who she is and what that means. I'm talking like as if she's separate.
Yeah, it seems like she is.
Yeah, I think at times she is, and then
Is
sometimes.
she here right now?
Yeah, she's with us. She's in the room with us. Yeah, she's kind of floating around. I think she's watching me right now.
So it is a stage name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, in this setting, it feels like speaking about her in I got you, I'll talk for you.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I actually didn't know that. I really did think that was your real name.
Oh, really?
I did, yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean, I had no idea to think otherwise.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I feel like she is me, and she's also an inspiration to me, and something and someone that I want to like merge with and in a constant conversation with to make that happen or keep separate, or it flows.
And in what ways does she inspire you?
She's fully full human, full like, and not in the way of like there's no fear, there's no doubt or anything. It's like she has all of the human qualities, but she's like, and here I am.
Yeah.
And like that's just what it is and what you're gonna get.
Okay, so I'm gonna dig a little deeper.
Cool.
So what does it mean to be human to you?
Yeah. To have multiple different things going on all at the same time, and letting that be so.
It's just like a letting yourself be at any cost.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a lot of, I mean, it's complicated, like to think about like bettering yourself. Like I think that that's valid, and I am completely in that world for sure. And through that process, I think like it's just very important to fully accept where you are in that journey, because it's not like you're like getting somewhere. It's just more of like the embodying, and then the processing, and then the desiring, and that kind of like going in a cycle.
So she's like the purest representation of our present selves.
Yeah.
In a way.
That's great.
Maybe. Don't want to put words in your mouth.
Love that.
Okay.
Love that and agree with that.
Okay. For better or for worse.
Yeah.
Too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like a safety in that. And I feel very safe on stage to exist in that. And I'm still like wanting to get to a point where there's even more safety in that.
Yeah.
And what's great about being on stage is it's like a container where that can exist, because you can't, you know, in this world, you kind of have to, according to what's happening, you know, be appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing, especially with performing.
Yeah.
And putting your words out there for people.
Totally.
Yeah.
Those are conversations that I have with myself a lot, of like, it's a responsibility to be seen and to like let yourself be fully in that. And what does that mean? And where will you go? And why? And yeah, it's just such an interesting journey to be on.
Yeah. Yeah. You said to be young?
To be on.
To be on. To be on, yes.
And to be young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too, because I know that there's a lot more coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, that kind of brings me to my next question.
Cool.
Okay. So I'm curious about your artistic beginnings.
Okay.
So, you know, who were some of your first creative influences, whether, you know, musical, artistic, or otherwise? And, you know, I guess another layer to that would be, how has that informed who you are today? Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I think a big influence, and something I tap into more than I probably realize, especially in terms of like the I don't know, the performance of it all, is my mom, who was an opera singer. And just very like, when I think about her when I was a kid, it's just like this like diva, this like glamorous human who just like belts and like is fully like, when I saw her on stage, I just saw her like open and fully like present and like cheeky and like funny and I think even saying that out loud, which is something that I haven't said in a long time, I think I tap into that energy a lot.
I can definitely see it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like the obvious main one. But I remember one of my first like vocal influences was Etta James. I think I like heard her song in a movie or something and was like I don't even know. I was a kid. I don't remember exactly. But my parents were always like impressed that I found it by myself, and like we're like, why does she like this? But also I loved like pop music as a kid, and like the radio, and I've just always I've loved the drama of performance my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like performance is a really big aspect of your image as an artist.
Yeah.
I remember the first time, and the only time I guess I've seen you perform, I was like, first of all, I was like, I need to talk to this girl. And second, I was like, she has such command of herself. and of the space around her, which is so hard to do in a space that you've never been in before, in a space where people are watching you that you don't know. So not to veer too far off from what we're talking about, but how do you think you've managed to channel that? You know, does that, a lot of that come from seeing your mom? Does a lot of that come from these other influences, or, you know, is it just like totally within yourself?
I feel really grateful to say that I think it's like really in me, and it feels so right when I'm doing it. And that's why I want to like delve even more into like feeling free and open in that.
Yeah.
But my whole life I've been such a just like a look at me, look what I can do. Like I can do this, and then like just loved, you know, that give and take of like the audience and the performance, and like I'm giving my vulnerability. I mean, I obviously didn't think about it like that when I was a kid, but after reflecting on it and doing it more now, just like the giving and the receiving and then the giving, I don't know. I just love that energy exchange is like really exciting to me. And I think there's been such a process to remember that for me, because I think I lost it for a while, like while my mom was sick. And that's been a really beautiful process because it feels kind of like I'm starting all over and like rediscovering this like magic inside that like feels really right. And I'm really grateful for that.
So when would you say that really started for you again? What was that point of takeoff?
Like the remembering? Well, is it okay if I talk about like her passing and all of that? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like a big part of
it's a safe space.
Thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that. I feel that.
Yeah.
So yeah, after, I mean, she was sick for like 7 years, and during that time was just like, for me in my life, in my brain, also I was a teenager. It was just like a lot of chaos and trauma, basically. And so I think over time it was just like, I just felt like by life kind of like beaten down. And I mean, there were wonderful things that happened. I was in theater during that time, so that spark kind of was like still there. I did some shows with some friends, like gigs around town, but that kind of stopped as she got like more sick. And then after she passed, actually during COVID, which was when it was like about to happen, I think that's when it started again, because like I was taking care of her most of the time, and we were just home because it was COVID, and then any free time I had, I was just like creating and like, or meditating or doing yoga or dancing or trying to like relieve these like intense feelings that were coming from the experience. It was a really weird time of like finding joy and magic again, while also having like a really terrible thing happen in like my physical world. And then after she passed, it was like very hard for a while, and I kind of just suppressed a lot. So I think with like the past year and a half has been really important in the rediscovering, and even in like the past 6 months, I think. It's been such a journey.
I
Thanks
imagine.
for letting me
Of course.
get that.
And you know, thank you for being so open, because you know, I know that it's a lot to talk about. But I would say, from a perspective of someone outside, you handle your grief the way most people would dreamed they probably could.
Thank you.
How do you feel towards that though? Because I don't want to like impose that on you. So, you know, not to ask too much, but what would you say your relationship is to grief now? And how has that, you know, informed and, you know, I guess informed is the right way to say it, informed your creative process and your, you know, your final product?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think now, like through time and kind of feeling like at least on the other side of the worst of the, like the worst chunk, at least so far, because it, you know, I'm sure it'll come up in different ways. I think I feel really weirdly grateful to have experienced such depth at an early age, because it goes both ways, because now I feel such like, I don't want to say lows, but like I'll just say depth.
Yeah.
And then also can like feel the magic on the other side of that, because I think it depends on how far we can go, how far we can stretch on either end, and that's like an equal thing. So because of experiencing that, I think that it's great to be an artist with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I, you know, also similarly had a pretty significant loss in my teenage years. And I find that it still informs my writing. I mean, it's been almost 10 years now, but it comes up in different ways constantly. And although it's not present as much as it used to be, I feel like it drives me to continue.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a really complicated thing. There's like a lot of magic in it.
Yeah.
But also the the worst feelings that you could possibly feel.
Yeah.
And both happening at the same time. It's like very I honestly feel like I haven't even delved into the concept of grief as much as I want to.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm just starting to open up to what it actually is for me.
Yeah.
Because I spent a long time, like, just pushing it away without even realizing it, which is valid and normal and it makes sense. But as I'm able to look at it with some, like, distance and time, it's a really interesting thing.
Yeah. Do you think that that's going to be like a new era for you with your art, you know, is channeling that more in your creative process?
Yeah, I think I would like it to. I think when right after she passed, it was a big part of it, and it was more of like a, please, like, I'm longing for like this connection.
Yeah.
And that's still present for sure. Less, but it's still there. But I'm interested to see like what else comes out of that. And I'm sure and I hope that it is part of my like art, because I want my art to be a representation of my life's journey and experience, and it would feel avoidant if I didn't let that part in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There is so much strength to that, I think, and not letting it bog you down, letting it bring you up and empower you is, I mean, the only way we can. I don't really think overcome is the right word, because it's not a thing you can overcome, but if we were to bring like fate into this in the way that things happen for a reason, like this thing happened to you and you can either let it affect you negatively or do what you're doing and use your art to propel you further into understanding it and letting it empower and strengthen you. And I feel like you are really like at that point. I mean, at least from what I'm observing through what you're saying. Once again, not trying to make any assumptions here, but
you're rocking it.
Yeah, it's really, really admirable, and
Thank you.
I can't imagine how difficult it is to be dealing with all of that as an artist, because it forces you to really like think about it more.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the decision to live life as an artist is like there's a lot there.
Yeah, they don't call it painting for no reason.
Oh, wow. That's so good. I never even put the two together.
There you go.
That's great.
I feel like we're glazing over all of my questions, but it's great. I love this conversation.
Me too.
And
I love your questions.
thanks. I've only asked like 2 so far.
Nice.
So, okay, the next one really connects. What do you see as your strengths as an artist?
That's a really good question. You've done it again. I think I just have such a call inside of me to be vulnerable, and like I've always been that way, and anytime I haven't been, I've been pretty depressed, and or anxious, or like something's not right.
Yeah.
But when I'm stopping because I also want to say that I'm on a journey of figuring out like how vulnerable to be and at what cost too. But that's a kind of another conversation. But I think my vulnerability, I think I really appreciate like duality and like wow. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I like putting a satirical or comedic kind of, or like a lightness to things that are heavy.
Yeah.
I think I do a good job of keeping that balance kind of there. Sometimes I can go really into one direction or the other. But something at least I've noticed in my expression and in my art is playfulness around things that are generally like a little like uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's like, I don't know what the word would be for that. But
there's definitely a word.
yeah.
Not thinking of it right now.
Oh,
though.
that's okay. It'll come up.
Yeah.
If it ever comes up, we'll just yell it.
We'll blurt it out.
Yeah.
And then aversely to that, are there things that consistently challenge you?
Oh, yeah. I, for my whole life, have dealt with so much self-doubt, so much like feelings of not feeling good enough, which are expressed in my art and in my music, and that's important. And those are my big ones for sure. Yeah, and that affects so many other aspects of feeling like able to produce art, or even like agree with an idea that comes in and be like, yeah, this is worth my energy and time. And it's been really empowering to listen to those little droplets of inspiration and flow with them and see the fruit in it.
Yeah.
After having so many instances of feeling it and hearing it and being like, okay, that's cool, but I probably can't do that, or it's not worth it, or it wouldn't be good enough. So like it's like a very empowering journey, but it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just I've just always been very sensitive. So it's like it can be a challenge to like live life in the way that I want to and not get like overwhelmed. But then again, that also works with the creating part.
Yeah. So do you think that the creative process helps you overcome these feelings?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it goes like even to the sorry, I'm burping myself. You can keep that in. It sometimes can go like to the complete opposite end too, where I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe this came out of my body. And those extremes are very real for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's through the real like brave act is like acting on it.
Yeah.
Like, and not just being like, okay, I'll come back to that, or like, you know, it's not good enough or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I can push through that feeling that every single time comes up that says it's not worth it, it's not going to be good, like there's no reason to do it. But there's like a little bit of me that's like, but what would happen? What if that feeling that you love feeling, that is why you do this, happens if you follow this?
Yeah.
And then if it does, which it usually does, I feel a really good feeling, and it's great.
Are there any times that your fears have come true?
In life?
Like with like the performance, you know?
Yeah.
Or have you consistently just overcome?
I think the fears that come true are that I give in to the thoughts. Like there are fears about me like agreeing with those thoughts. And sometimes I end up in that realm, and that like brings me to a place of like feeling stuck or avoidant, or, you know, not letting myself enter a space of expression or creation. And that's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
But it happens sometimes. And then it's a real process to like come out of that.
So is that like writer's block to you, or performance block, or?
I think it's just like it really mostly comes down to just like not believing in myself, and being stuck in that. And then just like not being able to take action because there's no why. And I think like having a why is really important.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So it'll just like end up in like turn into non-action, which it's just a spiral, and then you're just like going down well, I'm not doing anything, so I'm not good enough, so like, you know. So the bravery, right. And that, I know I'm not alone in that, especially as an artist. But I think it's really important to talk about it, because that it's like, I mean, at least for me, like I feel very brave and courageous when I can push through that, or not even push through it, but like hear it and be like, I hear you, but I'm going to show you that like something cool is going to happen.
Yeah.
And you should just come along and see and trust.
Yeah. It's about trusting yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It's tough.
It's really tough.
Yeah. As like a chronically anxious person, I'm like, even though I, perform a lot, the anxiety never goes away.
Yeah. Well, good on you for doing it because you know that it's like worth it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the high that
I know.
you get. I mean, yeah. It's like
it's so real.
It's so real. There's nothing like it. No drugs, no nothing.
No
replace that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But it makes everything worth it. So I'm interested to know more about your process, because you have like a try kind of like way you approach your art, right? You have the lyrics, you have the songwriting, the producing. I mean, we could say it's even four-parted because you have the performance, which ties everything together. So that's a lot for one gal. So talk to me about the intersection of these things. What do you feel like there is a strength there? Are they all carrying each other? How does that work for you? Do you just like sit down and are like, I'm going to blank today,
I wish. It usually, so yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. The process, it is many hats. And I recently realized that. Like, I didn't realize how many hats I was wearing at one time. Because I'm also, like, booking everything.
Right, that's another, yeah, of course. Sorry, I'm not trying to...
Oh, no, yeah. You're so good. I didn't even realize, like, I was just like, I'm just doing, like, the thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but I'm also doing, and, like, there are people that can, like, help me out. But I just, like, so far have been doing it all by myself, which I think is important because I'm like, now I know what I like and what I want. But yeah, so in terms of creating, usually, and creating songs, it usually starts with like a poem, but it's lyrics because it's like it's structured as a song. That usually flows out of me from a feeling. So I'm like feeling a feeling, a phrase comes into my brain that like feels like the feeling, and usually I just start writing that in my notes app. And then that's the point where I say, do I keep going? Do I follow this thread? And then if I do, sometimes it'll be like over time and I'll come back to it, but a lot of the time it just kind of like pours out. And then sometimes a melody comes with that. More often than not, I have to put a little more effort into the melody because I get bored of melody easily. So I kind of like try to make it interesting. Or more recently, I've been trying to let the melody flow also from the feeling, like conjure the feeling again and be like, okay, where does that want to go? Just in general in life, I'm trying to be more like letting go and letting things flow and playing more than trying to like be like, okay, so it has to be like this. So yeah, usually after I get the lyrics and if a melody comes, I just go and sit at my computer, my laptop, and I go into Logic, which is the DAW that I use, and I have a MIDI keyboard. So it's just like a keyboard and it has a drum pad, and I just use the sorry, I have to burp again. Got it. Sorry. I use just whatever instruments are in Logic, so I don't like use any plugins or anything. I probably will eventually, but right now what's working is having like a limitation a little bit. Also, when I'm creating the melody or the the production and the chords and stuff, that's usually what takes the longest, because I'm not like really trained in playing the piano. Like I learned a little from my mom. I do everything by ear though, and by feeling. And what's most important to me usually is what's being said and the feeling that's coming across. Also, because my mom was so technical, I needed to sound like right, but I also like for there to be like a twist, and like for it to not feel completely like your like regular song that you listen to. I don't know. It's just, and that part I think is like my, like, that's when the artist can really come out and kind of play and get weird, and just it really is about like, if it feels good to me, then I'm gonna follow that.
Yeah.
And I feel really grateful to have that perspective. I don't know if that was kind of all over the place.
No, it's a long-winded question.
It's such a process.
I imagine it is. As someone who, is not a musician but grew up in a very musical household. My parents are both musicians, or were rather. It's music informed a lot of my life as well. But didn't really make it into my creative life yet.
Hey, there's still time.
Yeah, but do you write chords, or do you write, things down as you're making the music itself, or is it all just like stored in there?
Yeah, I could not tell you one chord that's in my songs. Yeah. Because I'm just on the MIDI keyboard. I'm recording as I'm writing. Not the lyrics, but sometimes the lyrics. Like sometimes it's piece by piece. And sometimes I'm coming to the like session with a full song like already laid out in terms of lyrics. But yeah, I couldn't recreate any of these songs. I couldn't like tell someone what chords they were. Which, yeah, we'll see how that goes in the future. I did have someone like help me like figure out the chords a little bit, and that was
I was gonna ask if you ever had someone help with that.
Yeah, my good friend Pierce was like, we were doing that for a little bit and we haven't gotten back to it, but that was really exciting because it was cool to hear them like actually with a real instrument, because it's all electronic, but it's not like electronic music. Yeah.
Would you ever consider like doing another version of your songs with like, I don't know, like an orchestra or something?
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm super open. I think I take like all collaborations and creative experiences as like if it excites me, if it feels like the right thing, then I'm like so down. Yeah. Cool. But so far, I think the reason I've been so like on my own in this journey is just to know that I can, and that like I can really hone what it is that I want to express, because I've been in situations like growing up where I was like working with people and like didn't feel like it didn't feel like solid in me, and I'm coming to realize that also in collaboration it is two minds, and like that's a really wonderful thing, and I'm excited to get more into that. But I think because of my like not feeling good enough thing, like it can be hard to enter a collaborative space and be like, I deserve to be here. And I'm able to like hold space for myself completely when I'm alone.
That's interesting. I feel like there's two sides to that. The way that you're feeling, which is I don't feel like I deserve to be in this space, while I feel like other people may feel like I'm too good to be working with someone else. Like my ideas are better on their own.
Yeah, I think it's just like one of those things where it just kind of has to lock in and feel right.
Yeah.
At least for me, that's how I want to approach a collaboration.
Yeah.
Because I think it's there's so many artists and people, like there's bound to be like a disconnect in some way, and it's like how worth it is it to make the magic together.
Yeah. It's, you really have to find the right person. I think that's such an important part to it.
I think so.
You know, even like someone you're really close with, that may be difficult because you are so close to them. And if like you have any reservations about them as a person, that could come up in that process in a way
Yeah.
that would be, I mean, I'm just like making assumptions here, but that may draw some boundaries.
Yeah, I think like if the intention is to create, like it has to feel right in that realm of
Yeah.
the relationship, which is a complex thing because humans are so complex.
Yeah, yeah. Getting back to the nature of humanity, right?
Yeah, am I right?
So I'm curious about something you said before a little bit when you were talking about how you feel like you're trying to get to this point in your art where it's like where then you can feel comfortable proceeding in other ways with it. So do you feel like you've almost reached that point where you understand yourself as an artist? Or you know,
Yes.
Okay.
And I think more than anything, it's been a process of building trust in myself.
Oh, I got it. No, it's all good.
Thank you. Sweet. Yeah, I think it's been like I'm gonna change forever. So I can't really like say that I'm gonna find my thing and then I'm gonna let myself fly. And I think that there's like a fear in the like flying because it's more of a fear of not being solid in my gut and in my like knowing of what will be most fruitful for the art.
Yeah.
So I think like on the surface it's like figuring out who Leah Valentine is, and then underneath it's more of like trusting in my artist and my like voice as an artist. And I think they go hand in hand though. I think they both matter and exist.
But you feel yourself reaching maybe that point.
Yeah, I think I've throughout this like year and a half I've been just kind of proving to myself that I can like take action and like do things and have belief even through the fear. Yeah. But it's such a process. Like some days I feel like super just like let's go. Like let's do it.
Yeah.
And then other days it's a real challenge. And that is like part of it. That's like the acceptance of all of that happening throughout the whole time. Like I know I'm not going to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm here, I'm ready. So it's kind of like I think I've just been working more with the fear and being like, hey, like you can exist, but I'm still going to do stuff.
Yeah. And it's like what you were saying before about, you know, the nature of your identity as an artist in this separation and how maybe one day they will just be one,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks. I think you're doing a great job too.
Thanks.
I feel super grateful. I don't know where we are in the conversation, but I just feel really grateful to have this conversation.
I know, same. You know, really a big reason, I'll be honest, a big reason why I wanted to make this podcast was when we hung out last time, or the one time we did hang out.
Yeah.
And I just thought we had such a great conversation. And then after I asked you to be a feature, I was like, I want to like talk to her, you know, and like put that out there, because I think, and not just you obviously, but just like make that a thing, and just like having these conversations with artists and making that, you know, in an open and like safe space, where we can just talk about process and, you know, the deeper stuff as well. And, you know, I had a very good feeling that you would be really open to really like investigating all of that. And it inspired me totally.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I feel super inspired too. It's just like, it's so great to have these conversations, because it's like, you're just like building on that energy, and you're like, and yeah, it's like art.
Yeah. It's the only thing that gets me through it, you know, like one of my best friends, we have like a morning kind of chit chat, like on my way to work. And I just like call them in the morning, and we talk for literally like over an hour just about poetry and stuff, like, and that's how I start my day, you know.
That's
and it's
so great.
It's really lovely. And like I was just talking to them this morning, and they were like, they were just like so happy that we've like created this thing together, where it's just like they just know I'm gonna call them every morning now, and we just talk and about everything, you know.
Are they a poet as well?
Yeah.
Nice.
A really, really talented poet. Like, you know, another huge
great.
inspiration to me.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think just the conversation is what helps you understand more too. Not like you, but just like the, you know, the broad you about, you know, because when it exists within ourselves, it's so, it can be difficult to like really understand like what these things mean, when the only dialogue is between like yourself and yourself. But when you have that with someone else, like we're talking about with like collaboration, like this is like a collaborative thing in itself. And I think that it just opens up so many doors that you didn't even realize were like doors to begin with.
Totally. And that is such like a special part of collaboration, that like it's not like, it's just like a whole other side of artistry. Like the self and the dealing with all of that is like one realm, but like closing yourself off to the magic of having two completely separate entities and minds and sensations happening at the same time, and then like create, it's like a relationship, like you're like creating a new experience, like us talking is like creating an energy that you know, that we're feeling, that if, you know, whoever will experience, and that's so powerful.
It is. And my hope through these podcasts is that, you know, people listen to it and are inspired by them too.
I hope that too.
I mean, it's inevitable. Like, how are we not inspiring? Come on. Like, we're getting out here on a Thursday night, you know, just talking about art and life.
The
like,
real stuff.
It is real as fuck.
Yeah.
Little detour from our conversation about you, but
just a little gratitude moment.
Yeah, super grateful.
Same.
Okay, I'm like just looking through my questions to see. Cool. I am kind of curious about, a little selfishly, about your relationship to Beacon.
Oh.
as like someone new to that area as well, but also since this is like such a Kingston focused event that I do here, and you are obviously not from Kingston.
No.
Down south, on the other
Yeah.
side of the river, a whole different world on the other side of the river, really.
Truly.
So how has Beacon, what was your experience like growing up there, and how do you think that informed who you are as an artist?
Yeah. I mean, particularly within like the last year or two, it's been like really important to be there and be surrounded by like so much passion and art. And yeah, growing up, I mean, it's just changed so much. And yeah, I'm in an interesting place where it's like I've been there my whole life, and I'm like kind of ready to like fly away. But it's really hard to leave because there's just so much happening. And there are so many like really incredible, inspiring people and things going on. And I feel like I couldn't have been like nurtured in a better place throughout everything I've been through. And yeah, I'm so grateful to have been plopped there as a human.
Yeah, I think it makes me think of, there's a real desire within, I think, people in general to like you're saying, fly away and leave the place that they were born. I couldn't wait to leave where I grew up, but for entirely different reasons, because it was completely uninspiring to me. But do you think there's merit to really taking root in like, because some people have lived somewhere their whole lives. Could you see yourself living in Beacon forever?
I think there's a version of me that would, maybe as like a real home base, because I just know in myself that like I love travel. I need to be in new places or else I get like really kind of crazy. Though there's an art in that to like really find every gem that's in one place. I think that's really beautiful and important. In my discovery of myself, I just know that I have the want to experience different places. So just with where I'm at now, I think being somewhere where it's like an explosion of experience would be beneficial for me. And then who knows, like in however, or just like really having that as home base and like just traveling or something.
Yeah.
Like I want to tour the world.
Yeah.
That's like my dream.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I like there's a hope that I experience something different, but this area is just very special.
Yeah.
And again, it's just hard to like let it go,
Yeah.
and that I don't really have to. I think like I have to remind myself that I don't have to be like cut it off and be like I'm done.
Right.
I can just kind of like thank it and know that it will always be there.
Yeah, it will. Are there any people or places or organizations there that are especially close to your heart that you want to shout out?
So many. My roommate and best friend Rhiannon, who has seen me through all of it, and has really been there for me. She's so so in my bones, in my heart. I worked at a place called Kitchen and Coffee, and which is a coffee shop, and there's food. they I started working there because my friend Jesus like saw me so depressed and grieving, and was just like, I'm gonna help you get a job. So he helped me. Well, he like introduced me, got the process going, and so I started working there, and that place really like nurtured the broken person that I was. I don't even know if like how intentional that was, but just the environment and the people there. It was like all artists, and yeah, that was a really special and important place to like kind of rebuild and have some like a steady thing going while I was just going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just recently like quit to do music full time, and that's been a whole journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah, it is. That's honestly been its own kind of like grieving process, because that was such a huge like pillar in my life and structure, and yeah, so it's been interesting.
So, what is life like as a full-time artist?
Oh man, I'm really in the thick of figuring that out, but it's happening, which is amazing, and I have to remind myself that it's like that's what's going on. I think like what I'm coming to realize is it's like it really is, again, just trust that it's because you're following this call that's within you, that like you have evidence is there for a reason. Things are going to happen according to that. Maybe even at the very last second, but it's like trusting in that. I don't know. It's a little like woo woo and but
I'm so on the woo woo stuff. Like
nice.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of faith for sure.
Yeah, that's been my biggest, I think, realization.
Yeah.
Because and just like really like loosening the grip of like how things work, where things go. I'm still very much in the process of that. But that seems to be the recurring lesson. Yeah. Which is really confusing, because we're taught to like, know what's going on.
Yeah.
And being in the unknown is like terrifying.
Yeah. But how do you feel like it's going so far?
Good. I'm fully just like, just take me on the journey. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there are so many moments where I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Who am I? What's going on?
Yeah.
That's like almost maybe more than half the time. I don't know, maybe even more than that. But the glimpses of the why and keeping that there, that's just been a conversation I've been having in myself a lot lately, of just like, why the intention behind things, and the big intentions, the small intentions. Yeah, that's been like a huge thing to come back to.
Yeah.
But I feel really, really grateful that I am in this point.
Yeah. It's a big decision to make. I can imagine. I don't think I could ever do it. Just because, being a poet is like not something that will pay back in the same way.
I feel that.
Yeah.
And those are also conversations that I have with myself.
Yeah, but
and who knows?
When you have more of a consistent product, like, I mean, poetry is a product too, but it's kind of different because you usually need like a book or something, you know. But you can just have like a few songs or like an album, right? Which is like a book in its own way.
Sure, yeah. I think the performing is more of where like that's coming from.
Yeah.
But I really do have to figure it out. I've also been like, yeah, I'm in a special like point right now where I'm like, okay, how am I gonna make this work? It's like, it's happening, yeah, but how do I make it keep happening? And how do I, and I think that's just like a conversation that's, you know, if you're gonna choose to do that, that's just a constant conversation. And I think that's where like the trust comes in of like, if I'm meant to be doing this, it should happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I like how you put it like that. You know, if it's meant to happen, it should.
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel that. That's how or if not, that's how I'm going to choose to look at it.
Yeah, but you never know until you try.
Right. That's how I felt when I was like, I'm going to try this out.
Yeah. Cool. A few more questions. Kind of like gonna spitfire them.
Cool. I'm ready.
So talk about the first song performance or connection that you made associated with your art, obviously, that helped establish you as an artist.
Can you wait, the first like song outside of my music?
No. Like which of your songs, which of your performances, or like what connection you made with someone helped establish you as an artist?
Oh, yeah. So the production of my stuff started during COVID, and it didn't become real until I started performing at this restaurant called Yobo in Newburgh that they like so generously like let me use their lounge to try out my little songs. And I was just like, they were so encouraging, and I was just like so scared. But I did that monthly for a year last year, and that was like huge in getting this started. I have so much to like thank them for in that. Thank you for asking that question. That's like really important. And just through that, and like people coming and seeing it and being like, oh, what the heck is this? And then they be like, this is Leah Valentine.
Yeah.
And yeah, that definitely starting to perform there was like where I was like, oh, okay, there's something happening here.
Right.
And people were also saying that, and I was like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just been following the thread of like, oh, okay. Which,
awesome.
yeah, it's been fun.
Cool. Well, thank you. What is it? Yobo?
Yobo. Y-O-B-O.
Thank you,
Yobo. Thank you so much.
Favorite song you've made or songs?
Oh my gosh.
And then deeper, favorite line.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
If you can remember, and I know that's hard.
Yeah.
Or just like the first one you think of.
Yeah. Well, I will say my favorite song of mine changes every time I write a new song, because I just get like obsessed with it until I hate it, and then I write another one.
That's very real. Yeah.
But I have one about, I think one that like, I do like a lot of my songs, but one that is a consistent kind of like favorite for me and for other people is this song called Cat versus Bug, which is about my cats like playing with a stink bug. And like the song is just like about how they're like, so the chorus goes, I know I am him and also them, I guess just to keep it together, sorry. So sorry. That would be like a lyric that stands out too, because like they're like killing the stink bug and they're having fun. They're just playing with it. And then the bug is like literally its life is being over.
Yeah.
And we are both of them. So
Very Derrida.
tell me more about that.
Oh, the animal that therefore I am.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Jacques Derrida. He was like a French philosopher. He like wrote a lot about like animals and human relations and stuff.
Whoa.
Something that's super inspiring to me and inspired my art a lot too. So made me think of that.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna get into that.
You should. It's kind of life changing.
Cool. Love that.
I'll send it to you.
Dude. Yay.
But yeah, amazing. Love
Thanks.
it. Great lyric.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
And then at one point I have like a vocal processor that I use, and I make my voice like really deep, and then I'm like, this is the bug, and then I sing as the bug.
That's sick.
Like a fun little.
I don't think I've heard that one of yours.
I don't think you have either.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna listen to it after this.
Cool. It's actually not out, but I'll play it at the show.
Okay. Wow, this is super exciting. Now.
Yeah.
Sick. Well,
I'm excited.
Another reason to come next week, guys.
Yeah, guys.
Anyone listening?
See you there.
So, okay, a few more super quick.
Cool.
Any projects you're currently working on?
Yes.
Yes. To be announced. We kind of touched on this. I'm going to skip it. It was just like, where is your music developing to? But it's like, I feel like we've kind of discussed that. But if you have any other thoughts about that.
I have a lot of thoughts, but I think not to share yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. I like mystery. I like enigma. Any upcoming shows you want to shout out besides ours next week?
Yeah. Come to that one.
Yeah. Any other ones?
Yeah, I have one at Untouchables in Newburgh on the 27th. With some other amazing bands, and then I'm doing a show in Brooklyn with Breaking Sound at the Pink Frog Cafe on April 2nd, and I'm really excited about that one. And that's all I have on the roster as of right now. Yeah.
Exciting. You're going continental. No.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that one. That one's gonna be like a whole new thing for me.
Have you ever performed in the city before?
Not my music.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I've never heard of that cafe.
Me neither. I'm excited to just like show up and see what happens. That's my favorite part about doing shows.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'll be cool. A whole new crowd.
Yeah.
Too. So that's exciting. Cool. Any last remarks, fleeting thoughts?
This was really, really wonderful. I'm like, this felt so right. And I felt very safe and happy to be here.
Yeah. Yay. Same. Absolutely agree on everything you said. And so I'm going to just end this off by mentioning that you all can listen to this podcast on the Green Kill Sessions YouTube page, which you're probably watching it on right now. And I'm also going to be posting it to the White Noise GK Instagram page and YouTube, which is just White Noise. And just in some little audio clips, some highlights. And our next event is Tuesday, March 25th, featuring Leah. And then last thing, where can people find you and where can they find your music?
Oh, yes. Hello. You can find my music if you just look up Leah Valentine on Spotify or Apple Music or any of the things, you can find some of my music there. Your best bet to hear my music is live, because I have a lot more that's like not out on streaming platforms. And then you can follow me on Instagram at Lady Leah Valentine. And I also just started a Patreon that no one knows about except for you now. Yeah.
Insider secrets.
And I think it's either Lady Leah Valentine or Leah Valentine. I think it's Lady Leah Valentine. But that one's going to be cool because it's going to be like exclusive kind of process content and more in-depth stuff about me and my life and my process and my inner world. Yeah.
Which we love, by the way.
Thank you.
So thank you, Leah, for
Thanks
coming.
so much.
This has been so fun, like you said. And yeah, please come Tuesday, March 25th to see Leah perform. I mean, aren't you so excited? Because we sure are. Yeah, White Noise signing off.